reduce their pain and muscle spasms. And typically our physical therapist or assistant will do some type of manual stretching, massage therapy, or range of motion on that patient. And after the initial visit, we typically see patients 2 to 3 times a week for 4 to 6 weeks.
LionsPTLV.com, 702-476-0222.
Adopting a pet from your local shelter could be one of the best decisions you'll ever make. You'll not only be saving a life, you'll feel good doing it. At the Animal Foundation, everyday low pricing makes it easy and affordable to adopt a pet. All adoptions include spay, neuter surgery, vaccinations, and microchipping, so you can focus on a rewarding new life with your rescue pet. To find your new best friend, visit animalfoundation.com.
Right now at Findlay True North Volkswagen, we're having sign and drive on everyone's favorite, the Volkswagen Jetta. That means 0 down, 0 security deposit, and 0 first month's payment when you lease a new 2019 Volkswagen Jetta S Automatic for only $216 a month for 39 months. Visit Findlay True North Volkswagen. We put the value in Volkswagen. Located in the Northwest at Centennial Hills, exit US 95 at Ann Road, head north to Azure Drive. On approved credit, MSRP 21,340 plus tax, $499 fee, $675 acquisition fee, and $29.25 title fee, 7,500 miles per year. See dealer for details. Offer expires 5/31/19.
When your stomach starts to churn and says, feed me, head on into Napoli's Pizza and try one of their monthly specials. Napoli's features a different special each month. This month's special consists of 3 large chicken fingers, your choice of the flavors, and a mixed green salad, all for $6. And since everything is prepared fresh each and every day, it's not just good, it's Napoli's good. This month's $6 special is available at all 3 Napoli's Pizza locations, West Sahara, North Nellis, and in Henderson on West Warm Springs Road.
A Men's Health Moment with Dr. Arakaki.
If you have to drink coffee or energy drinks 2 or more times a day to stay alert, you may be masking an underlying medical issue. It could be a symptom of low testosterone.
Learn more at universalmensclinic.com.
Deanna got some really bad news from the IRS.
They said you owe quite a bit of money.
She didn't have that kind of money.
I was in a state of despair.
And when she called, all she got were threats.
Garnishing my wages, taking my house, taking my car. I didn't know if I was going to make it.
Thankfully, Deanna found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $500 million for their clients. Optima went right to work for Deanna.
Optima Tax negotiated everything. I did not have to worry. They talked to the IRS.
Needless to say, she was relieved.
Optima Tax saved my life.
Do what Deanna did. Call Optima now for a free consultation. Call 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922. 800-375-2922.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hello, friends. This is Thomas Johnson from Joe's Seafood Prime Steak and Stone Crab. Need a great idea for lunch or dinner? Your best bet is Joe's, one of the most popular dining destinations on the Strip. Joe's provides the ideal setting for private parties with accommodations for up to 150 guests. Stop by to see us at the Forum Shops at Caesars and ask for Thomas Johnson, your maitre d'.
And especially have that number handy for graduation reservations. Perfect place to take your graduate. If you're going to do it in a party sense, they've got the boardrooms upstairs are fantastic for that. That's absolutely spectacular room. So make sure and call. 702-792-9222 is the number at Joe's Seafood Prime Steak and Stone Crab. Our Joe's Angle of the Day always comes to you thanks to the hard work put in by Ralph Michaels, who's here with me, Dave Cokin. Ari Platinum is our producer. Ralph, what do we have?
We talked about this game with Will, and the money's actually going opposite our play, which I actually like a little bit. It's pretty simple. The Twins are 10-0 as an away favorite. The Seattle Mariners 1-8. Their last 9 as a home dog. And, the Twins playing well, yet, as Will said, at least at CG, they have more tickets written on the Seattle Mariners.
All right. Well, there you go. A little value, perhaps, in terms of the trends at least, on the Minnesota Twins. And we'll look more at that game in a moment. First, we'll talk about the Orioles and Indians. And, look, I know it's a gigantic favorite, but it's really tough to make any kind of a case for the Orioles against anybody at this point. They're 14-28, so, yeah, they're winning 1 out of every, losing 2 out of every 3, which is maybe better than people thought they'd do. But Remember, they started off 4-1.
Beat the Yankees a couple times as 250 dogs, and that got their profit up 5 units right there.
And since then, they've been pretty much Marlin-esque. This is a terrible baseball team. To me, I can't play on the Orioles, basically, in any way. I don't see. Well, I might do a first 5 on a Baltimore or a Miami at some point. But full game, no, not interested. I'll find something else.
Well, we talked about 300 favorites, and going back to the start of 2018, there's been 60 games with teams of 300 favorites or more. The average line has been 339. They're 45-15.
So you're
minus 5 units. It's basically.
But you're not doing any better, really, on the other side.
You're minus 1.2 units.
Yeah, because you don't get 10-cent lines on prices like that.
So you should never say I shouldn't play them or I should play them. It's each individual. Here's one thing though, Bauer is.
Oh, go ahead.
Bauer is 1-4 with a 5.45 ERA lifetime against Baltimore.
Of course, some of that was against better Baltimore teams.
Much better.
Now it's a little different with favorites in the $2 and up range. If you throw out the $3 and up and play between 2 and 2 whatever. You wouldn't think it. I mean, this is going to fly in the face of people who think that sharp bettors don't bet big favorites. But actually, betting those big favorites in the 2 to 250 or 260 range has actually been really good.
Anything from 2 to 300 from the start of 2018, you are plus 86.0 units.
That's a lot.
The record is 387 and 130. That includes the 60 games. I'd have to back out the 60 games, but 387 and 130, 75%.
Not bad.
But plus 81 units in that role.
All right, let's look at the matchup between the Blue Jays and White Sox. We talked somewhat about this with Will, and this is actually the high volume game on the board tonight. There's not a lot to choose from, obviously, on the baseball side. But among the games that we have available on the diamond tonight, this is now the high-volume game. It might be the high-scoring game as well. Blue Jays' Marcus Stroman. Now, Stroman hasn't got much run support, but the fact is he is in really lousy form over his last few starts, and he's facing a capable White Sox offense here. Meanwhile, Dylan Covey goes for the White Sox, and we mentioned this about a few pitchers now and then. It doesn't mean he can't have a good game, but there's nothing to indicate that Dylan Covey can get big league hitters out on a regular basis.
Completely agree. You know, the Blue Jays, the negative to an over would be the Blue Jays are hitting 172 the last 10 days. So they have struggled, but the struggles were, I mean, they did the Indians and they did the road trip.
They faced some pretty good pitchers.
Yeah, but now we're looking at, we're looking at these pitchers got banged up last week against these same opponents. They pitched Friday and Saturday. So not only did they not perform well, now you're seeing the same lineups again just five or 6 days later.
Yep. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Twins and Mariners will be fun. Now, the Twins are missing a couple of guys. Actually have not checked to see if Cruz is available tonight, but Garver, who's been the best of their 3 catchers, he sure isn't available because he suffered a high ankle sprain yesterday, and he's on the injured list. That's a big hit for the Twins, actually, the way he had been banging the ball. Fortunately for them, they're very deep at that position. They'll take on a Mariners team that actually is stemmed the losing tide a bit. Every time they get back down to 500, they do manage to win a couple of games. They did take 2 in a row against Oakland, so they've got a little positive momentum going into tonight's start. Swanson on the mound, he's had 2 pretty good starts, and the rest were awful, really bad. There's been no in-between with Swanson. He'll be taking on Pineda, and it's not going well for Michael Pineda right now. He has had 5 straight bad starts. That's not a guy you want to be going with, and I think that might indicate why some money's showing on Seattle here.
Yeah, 5.91 ERA, and Swanson a 6.39 ERA in his 5 starts. You look at these and you say the Mariners stem the tide, but at least you could see that the Mariners were off that 9-game road trip or 10-game road trip, which they played poorly. They returned home on May the 13th. That was Monday, and then they got the 2 wins. So obviously this is the play that the Joe Zangle's involved with. So I still think you're getting a very good price on one of the best teams in the AL, the Minnesota Twins.
All right. Good. That gets us up to speed on the Major League Baseball. College football. Tony Miller tweeted this out earlier. The Golden Nugget will be putting up its games of the year in about 2 weeks. So we're getting, I mean, the pages turn so fast. I'm making a concerted effort to get ahead of the curve this year. Not that I've sloughed off in past years, but I really do want to try and take advantage. Maybe not so much of the early betting lines, but I want to be ready to go on the over and under win totals. I think there's going to be some good opportunities there. So I'm in pretty good shape right now as far as my college football previews are concerned. I'm not done with them yet, but I'm getting there. You've also done a good deal of early work, especially on returning starters and things like that.
Yeah, I always enjoy doing that. And, that's part of my makeup where I came, having run Phil Steele Publications. I'm just used to doing it. Once that season ends, I start writing notes for next year. So I'm excited about those games of the year coming out. I don't worry about having to bet them because a lot of times you bet them and you think it's good and then you finish the summer and it doesn't work out well and they're sitting on that money for that long. So I will be down there. It'll be an event. The South Point was first last year, but unfortunately for Chris and his health, he couldn't do them this year. So Tony's doing them again early. But there's something about that college football weekend down there when he's putting those lines up and people are standing in line to bet them. And
it's
the Sharps are down there and you're saying hello to people you haven't seen since last football year. That I'll be putting out information. I will have information on WagerTalk with returning starters and a lot of information prior to those numbers the week of at WagerTalk.com.
Do you do a projected win total for each team yourself?
I do.
So do I.
I actually do a projected line for each game.
Yep.
So I have basically what I do is I go through my power ratings. I put them into the schedule. I put out the projections of what the line would be and then what the win percentage is for that line and put out what the lines would be. So I'm doing it mathematically the exact way that the Vegas casinos are doing it. So it just depends on where your differences are in your power ratings.
Without getting too much into the power ratings, is there any chance anybody is going to be rated ahead of Clemson on your power ratings? Because I already did Clemson and Alabama. I do have Clemson rated higher than Alabama going in. And without doing anybody else, I know it's like those two teams are going to be
I think they're going to be at least 4 clear.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be at least 4 clear when I finish mine. You know what?
That's of Alabama.
Yeah, I think I have Clemson 1 point higher than Bama.
Oh, okay.
And then I think there's going to be at least 4 clear spot after that.
I have Clemson a little higher than that.
Do you?
Yeah.
The defensive line they have, we'll see what comes up. I have them down a notch because of that. You have, last year, to me, returning starters is one thing, but when you return multi-year starters like they did on the D-line and lose that year, I dropped them down quite a bit on the defensive side.
I'll tell you where a big part of it for me was, and I am very much still a believer in this old adage, about the biggest improvement a quarterback shows is between his freshman and sophomore years.
Yep.
Can you imagine if this guy's going to be better? I mean, he's already the best player in college football. If Lawrence had been eligible for this year's draft, he would absolutely, 100%, have been the number 1 pick. He's not even going to be eligible next year. He's not eligible till the year after that. I got to tell you something. I almost wonder if it's worth his taking the risk of being on the field. He's that much better than everybody else. I don't know how Clemson's going to get stopped on offense this year.
Dave, a year from now, perhaps you and I should be talking about betting unders on the worst 4 teams because they'll be tanking to get Lawrence that third year.
Oh, yeah.
Last year's season win totals.
It's not like this past year where
it is worth taking.
You had a number 1 overall pick, but and he ended up as the consensus number 1 overall pick, but it's not even close. Lawrence he's already being looked upon as one of those like once per decade quarterbacks that good, and I don't know how anybody can argue with that based on. If you've seen him play, he is absolutely amazing. And total package physically.
There will be some tanking.
Oh. Yeah, they better put a lottery in place there, too, huh? Oh, we'll take a break. We'll come back. It is Game 2 of the Blazers-Warriors series. Game 1 got away from the Blazers in the fourth quarter. They did compete for 3 quarters in that game. We'll talk about what we think might happen tonight next.
The Las Vegas Sportsline.
Greta
Van Fleet, live, Friday, September 26th.